Hey guys, myself Rakesh, and today we are going to learn a new thing. How can you extract data using API and write that to an Excel? Let me show you a demonstration of how this workflow is working, and then we are going to understand how to design from end to end. Okay, from the scratch we are going to learn. So let me first run it and show you how this one is exactly working. Okay, so this is my Excel file which is currently blank. You can see it's completely blank. The sheet one is completely blank. So the automation has started. Let it prompt me. So it has prompted me extract data bot. How many records do you need to extract? So here let me enter some value. Let's say 10. I want 10 data to be extracted using API. So what this will do, this will, using the API which I have provided, it is going to get the data. Oh, you can see some Arabic names has also been pulled. Okay, so getting it right, how this one is working. Let me show you once again. Let me run it again, and let's delete this and save it. Now let me enter, let's say 15. I want 15 data. So let's see how this one is working. Okay, so you can see it has pulled some 15 data. You can see, right? All the entire 15 data has been pulled. First name, last name, and email address. So how this can be designed, we are going to learn from this video. So let's get started. Okay, now first thing, what you do, let me delete this entire sequence so that we will start from the beginning. Now the very first thing what we are asking how many data you would like to extract. For that you will be using an input dialog box. Okay, and in input dialog box here I am going to write a sentence. So I will say extract data using API. I'm just giving some dialog title, and then how many data do you need to extract? So you can put some number. So here whatever the number the user is entering, that should get stored in a variable. So I will say count or a counter, whatever you call it. Okay, so the variable has been created. Now what we will do, we'll change the variable type to integer, and we are done. Now it has to loop through, right? It has to do the same HTTP request multiple times. So first of all, let me use a while loop. Okay, while loop, and I am saying until the counter variable is greater than 0, you loop through this. Okay, this much is clear. Now I am going to use to request data from the API, right? So what is that API am I using? I am using something called random user.me.api. This I have shown in the previous video too. Using the same API, this specific API is very useful for the practice purpose. Okay, and every API will have a different nature. So this is quite simple. If I run this, what happens? It is going to give me some data, random data it is giving, having the username, user details, his email address. There are so many different details are there. And every time you refresh this, it is going to change the data. You can see that first name has changed. If I refresh again, it keep on creating a new random user. Okay, some fake random user is creating, and entire data is there in JSON format. Alright, so this is the API you need. So first of all, you need to open this on your Chrome, random user.me/API/. Okay, this is what you need. So copy this, and the very first activity that we need for this is HTTP request. Okay, and this HTTP request is part of UiPath.web.api.activities. So if you don't have this activity, you will not have by default. So you need to install it. Go to manage packages and all packages and search for UiPath.web.api.activities and install it. Okay, so let me drag and drop this activity. Simple. And all I have to do, I need to enter this URL which I was talking about and hit on. That's all, nothing else you need to do for this URL, and then you need to hit on preview. So what happens, this is going to make a call every time this HTTP request activity is going to run. It's going to make a call to that specific website and going to receive the data in the UiPath Studio. Getting it from your UiPath Studio, you are making a call, getting the data, and you are able to see that data in the UiPath Studio. So this is the preview. So what you do from the preview page, from the response, this one, right? 200 means the data which you have requested has retrieved successfully. That is the meaning, status code 200. So I'm going to copy this specific data, just this, okay, not the top one, just inside this one. Copy this, open a blank notepad and copy paste. So this is there in entirely in JSON format. Okay, now this is required for you to copy paste it to a notepad. That is where you will know how do you extract specific data like first name, last name, email address, or whatever data is there. How do you really extract? You will get to know. So it is required for you to copy paste that data into a notepad. Okay, all right, if you have done that, let's proceed to the next step. Click on OK on this. Okay, this much is clear. Very simple steps. All right, now this HTTP request has its property. So click on the property panel, which you might have on the right hand side or anywhere, right? I have just changed it to my left hand side because my video is coming on the right bottom corner, right? So that's why I kept it on the left hand side. So here you can see there is an output, right? There will be output, and here in the response content, what you do, create a variable called JSON string. Okay, so why am I naming it as JSON string? Just because the output of the HTTP request will always come in the string format. Either it's a JSON data, but again it's coming in the string format. You can see I pasted that to a notepad. It's entirely a string format. Okay, in string format is going to come from the HTTP request. The output of the HTTP request is always a string format. Okay, now once that string format has arrived, what I would like to do, I will use another activity called deserialize JSON. So what this activity will do, taking that string, it is going to convert that to a JSON object. I mean, it is going to actually convert from that string to a JSON format, exact JSON kind of a data type. Okay, so what I will do, I'll provide that JSON string as an input for this activity, and this activity has also an output. JSON object is the output. So what I will do, I'm going to create a variable called JSON object. Let's say you are very new, you don't know what is a JSON object, you don't know what is a JSON string. So everything in detail I have explained in the API playlist. So you should always follow the playlist from the start to the end, so that in case you are very new or you don't have any knowledge, you should always follow back my previous videos. If not, you can continue to watch this. Okay, I have created the JSON object. Okay, now using JSON object, how do I really extract that data? We need to know. First of all, let's use, so how many data we need? Let's say some 3 different data we need. So I'll use assign activity. So for assign activities, I'm going to drag and drop 3 or 4. I'm going to show four different data. Okay, done. Now what we need, first thing, let's go back to the Excel file. Sorry, let me delete this data. Let's make it blank, right? And saved. Okay, this is blank. All right, let's go back to the notepad. Now in the notepad, if you see, this is the format how it is coming, right? So what we need the first name, we need the last name, let's say we need the email address, and let's say we need info seed. What else we need? Yeah, I think that 3 data should be fine, right? Result, page, version, this is not required. Okay, those 3 data we will take it. Okay, so we'll consider only those 3 data. So what we will do, we'll create a variable called first name, and then I'm going to create a variable here called last name. Okay, and then I'm going to create a variable here called email. Okay, these are the 3 different variables which I have created. Alright, now how do I really get those first name, last name and all that? Let's learn it. So I'm going to highlight this activity, I'm going to click on the properties, and I'm going to hit on the values, and let's write this. So the entire data is now in the JSON object. Okay, and then to extract certain data, so what is the way I have taught you here? This entire data is there in results. For example, the first name is under results, under name, and then you have the first name. If you see follow the curly braces, this is a block, this is one block data, and this entire block is there, this name block is there inside this block of data, and this result is there in an array format. All this I have explained in the previous video. Okay, but again I'm giving you a little bit of hint in case you are not aware. So why it is in an array format? It is, you can see there is a square bracket. If you scroll down, the square bracket ends, and it has only one data. The entire square bracket has got only one set of data, but one set of data it has. So to access such kind of a JSON data, all you have to do, simply write the first thing. The first thing is results, right? So I will write results. So ensure you copy it correctly. Copy, okay, and then let's go back and let's paste it. Okay, because this is an array and is there only one set of data, so I'll use the index number zeros. If it is two sets of data, then I will say 1 or 2, wherever that data is there. Okay, because it's only one set of data, I'm using 0 as the index. All this I've explained pretty clearly. Okay, now here in the previous video, now here I am going to use, I need the first name, and the first name comes under the name, right? I'll use the name, copy this, and I'm going to say name. Sorry, I used two double quotes. Let me remove that. Done. And then what I need the first, so I will say copy this first and use, so simple format, very simple format. So this is going to give me the first data, the first name dot toString. Just that just to stay safe, I'm going to convert everything to toString and click on OK. Getting it? Okay, this data has come. Same thing, I'm going to copy paste this entire format what I have entered. I'm going to copy this entire syntax, go to the last name, assign activity, go to the properties, and in the value section I'm going to copy paste, and only thing I have to change is last. Now tell me, can I write L in capital? No, you can't, because these are all case sensitive data. So you have to write it in the right way. If it is a capital, you should write in a capital way. So it is all in small case, so I'm writing in small case. Done. So this is going to pull the last name and going to assign this data to the variable email, right? Okay, sorry, last name. And then I need the email. Now look at the email. What is the email? The email is not under name. It is one part of this result only, right? So here is the email. So let me copy this email properties here. Let me first copy paste that, right? And this is directly part of name. So here instead of name, I'm going to simply say email. Okay, be careful about this spelling, otherwise the data won't be pulled. You will throw an error. So this is becoming email. So the email data has arrived in the email variable now. So we have got 3 different data from the HTTP request, from the first HTTP request. So this is going to run, let's say you are entering 10, it's going to run 10 times. So to run it, for it to run 10 times, I need a assign activity. And here all I will say, counter is equal to counter minus 1. So I'm going to reduce one number. Okay, so it is going to reduce one number. So now it is counter minus 1. Okay, so the loop will run 10 times, and 10 times this data is getting fed. Now how do I really take all this data and write to an Excel, right? That is the question, right? That is where we are here. So to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a build data table activity. Build a data table activity, drag and drop this activity, and then here click on the data table, remove all this extra rows that we have, click on this button, and here the first thing is first name, so I'm going to say first name, and it should be string. Done. The same thing, let's do it for the column 2. What is the next thing? I want last name, so last name, and this is supposed to be string data. Let's change it to string and hit on OK. This is done. Now what we need one more column, right, which is email. So I'm saying email, and it's supposed to be string. So a blank data table we have created using build data table activity. Done. Click on OK. Pretty simple. Now here, let's in the output panel, I'm going to create a variable to hold that structure, right? That blank structure, it's supposed to hold it. So I'm going to create a variable called data table 1, dt1. Done. So we are done. We have created a data table outside of the while loop, not inside, outside of the, remember that. Okay, you're not building 10 times, you're building only one time. Okay, now how do I add the data inside this loop? Inside the while loop, I'm going to use something called add data row. There is an activity called add data row. So now for each one row, I'm fetching a data, right? For the first time when it runs, it got a data. Now I'm pulling first name, last name and email from that entire set of data, and all this should be written in one row, right? So I will use a R data row, and here let's open it in a bigger window and then use two curly braces. So the first one is the first name, right? First name comma, the next variable was last name holding the, so you're writing all the three variables which is holding the data. Simple. Click on OK. And then which data table would you like to add this rows of data? I would like to add it to the DT1 which you have created before the while loop, right? Into this I'm going to add the data. So that is the concept. So once this data is written, then I would like to write this data back to an Excel file. So that is pretty simple. All I have to do, I have to use a couple of Excel activities. So use Excel, simply type Excel, and then you have something called Excel process scope. Let me draw. So it should be outside of the while loop, okay, because you are writing only once all the data has been written to the data table through the loop, it will keep on adding, and the data table is keep on feeding, right? It's getting the new feed 10 times, or whatever the entries you have made. 10 times you need data, 20 times you need data. So all this activity is going to feed the data into the DT1, right, which is a temporary data table which you have created. And finally that DT1 we are going to write it inside the Excel file. So I'm using an Excel process scope, and then I'm going to use something called use Excel file. It's pretty simple, okay. And then I'm going to select the file name. So where is my file? It is here. Let me select this. Done. And then all I have to do, I have to write it. To write, there is an activity called write data table to Excel. Write data table to Excel. Okay, so we are making an API call, extract the data, putting that into multiple variables, writing all those data to a data row and adding that to a data table, and then finally we are writing that entire data table to an Excel file. Simple. And what to write, what to write is DT1, right? We want to write DT1. Destination, where would you like to write this? Right, write data table, and I would like to write this in the sheet 1. Okay, what to write? DT1. So this is done. So this is going to do the job for us. So now this is the time to really check if there is any error. We will try to anyways correct it. So let's run this and see. So our Excel is completely blank now. Okay, so anytime I should get a prompt which is supposed to ask me how many number of data I should extract, right? Okay, this is interesting, right? How you build the entire automation from scratch. Okay, so the automation has started. Okay, it has prompted me. Let's enter some number. Let's say 20. I need 20 data to be extracted using that API. So I need to hit on OK. So now it's time to wait. So the loop will run 20 times and is going to extract the data 20 times using HTTP request. Every time you are making HTTP request, you are pulling one data, next data, third data, like that loop is running, right? Okay. Now let's wait. It's taking time. Okay, good. Now you can see it has already pulled the data. Let me go back. So it has pulled all the 20 data. So let's say 21 because the first one is the header, right? So total of 20 data has been pulled. First name, last name, and the email address. Getting it? So this is quite simple. All you need to know the technique of data table, technique of assigning the JSON object data to a variable. If you know these two things, we are good, right? So overall, what are the key points that we should remember from this video? The key points are building a data table, creating a blank structure, using a loop, how many times you need, right? And then HTTP request, how do you put that, how do you configure this HTTP request with the API? This is very simple. We are not making any changes, simply pasting the URL. And the very important thing is how do you assign once we have the JSON object, right? Using the deserialize, we are getting the output of this activity as JSON object. So how do you, using the JSON object, how do you get the exact data, right? That is important. So here we have seen, for example, this one, to pull the first name, how we have used the array and then all of that. Now for the right, same thing, we have done it for all of it, and we have pulled the data, and finally the data has been added to our data row, and then once the data table is filled, it comes out of the loop, and once it is out of the loop, we are writing it to an Excel file, and this Excel file is finally writing the data to instructed sheet. I have instructed to write it in sheet 1, so it is writing into the sheet 1. So that's all, pretty simple automation, but again, great thing to know, right, how it is working. So I hope you must have done it. So once you have done it, do not forget to say, hey, I was able to complete this exercise, or I'm done, or simply write done, some comment you say, you do, so that I know that you have watched it and you are able to successfully complete this exercise. So thank you guys for watching this API series. I'm going to provide the link of that URL. I'm going to provide the link of the playlist, API playlist, in case you would like to start from the scratch. You can always follow that. So thank you guys for watching it. We're going to meet once again in the next content. Till then, take care. Bye bye. And please do subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.